We did it! Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dude's Brunch, a podcast about popular culture and breakfast food, but not necessarily in that order. I am your very tired host, Taylor, and on the panel this evening, as always, we will start with Tyler Reed. Tyler, what'd you have for brunch today?
I didn't have any brunch. The brunch didn't happen. I
Why not?
eventually had a chicken salad. Thanks, work. Stay in school, kids. Also, this is the Bunbury Fancast now, if you didn't know.
I was going to get to that after introductions.
Alright, I just wanted to say you messed up your intro. But good intro, aside from that.
Hey, shut up. All right. Having his own little giggle party up north in Akron, Ohio. Sean Evans, what'd you have for brunch today?
I had apple strudel and coffee. This time it wasn't black. I mixed in it like half and half with milk because I wanted it to be kind of cool. It was hot.
Right on. And as viewers, regular viewers of the show can probably tell, I have a different background because I'm in my room at my parents' house. And so they made me French toast this morning for brunch. It was really delicious. I love coming home because they just make me lots of brunch. And then they leave me on my own for the rest of the weekend. But brunch. So, as Tyler alluded to earlier, tonight is the Bunbury Fancast, our Dude's Brunch wrap-up of all things Bunbury Festival 2015, a.k.a. Wait in Line Fest, a.k.a. I don't know, some other bad nickname.
AKA
Also-
Pillsbury Doughboy, AKA Party in the Park. Actually, that's a real...
That's a
event.
real festival, we can't say that. And yes, we are skipping Snoop Dogg. The DOGG is on stage right now as we're recording this because I was the only one there today and I just didn't feel like staying for Snoop Dogg.
3 days of partying.
So lonely.
And you
3
didn't stay
days
for
of
the biggest
partying.
party of all
I didn't
the
stay
whole
for the biggest
weekend.
party.
So lonely and sadly alone.
Okay. If you have any comments about the show, about what we talk about tonight, feel free to tweet in live at Dudes Brunch or afterwards. We're nice. We'll talk back. You can also tweet at us individually. Our handles are on the screen if you're watching the video, or we'll say them out loud later if you're listening to the audio. So let's just jump right into this. Sean didn't go, but,
Woohoo! That's me.
but Tyler and I went, and we both went on Friday, and then I went to Saturday and Sunday as well. So let's talk overall impressions, I guess, first. Just overall impressions of the festival. How do we feel?
Alright, well, since the 4 years since I've been to it, really seeing the overall presentation, the look and feel, really didn't change much. I don't think I was allowed to drink though when Bunbury started. So I don't know if I actually remember if their beer selection, but they were missing Rheingeist, and you said they were also missing Mad Tree, weren't they?
Yeah, they had no local craft beers, even though they had a craft beer village. Air quotes.
Right.
So you could
all
build
of-
crafts and drink beer?
Blue
Yeah.
Moon was there.
Pipe cleaner bumblebees with Coors?
Right. I think the way the people on the Bunbury subreddit described it was, they're all craft beers, as in they're owned by Anheuser-Busch, and they're smaller than Coors. So... Also, Coors Light was an official sponsor, so there was so much Coors Light. No Coors Regular, just Coors Light and Coors Light Citrus, and they were
Cincinnati's on a
$6
diet, guys.
$6 a can for Coors Light. Why? Why would anyone pay that much?
You don't go to professional sports games much, do you?
No, I don't.
He just pre-games.
Taylor goes hard in the parking lot.
I do go hard. I go hard in the parking lot, yeah. Yeah, beer selection, I agree, Tyler. Not that impressive, but presentation, pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
The physical layout was smaller, though, which Sean alluded to on a previous episode of our podcast.
They didn't have it all the way across the riverfront there?
No. So it ran from, I think it's the Brent Spence Bridge. It's whatever bridge is right next to U.S. Bank.
Okay.
underneath the Purple People Bridge and over to the Big Mac Daniel Carter Beard Bridge, and then it just stopped.
Huh.
So
Where they put the big stage at then?
it was like the back of it faced U.S. Bank Arena, and it went out into the park.
Oh, okay.
So for those of you not familiar with Cincinnati geography, they basically cut out a third of the ground space of the festival, but then they over doubled the attendance. Friday, the average attendance for previous years was 8,000, and on Friday they had 20,000 people there. They ran out of water, the ATMs weren't working, the restrooms had huge lines, the food had huge lines, and up until 4 p.m. they only had one gate to get into the festival, which Tyler and I experienced a little bit of problems with that, but people were livid. I have never seen so many angry people at a music festival in my life. Tyler?
Also, rampant line cutting.
Oh, yeah, just
that
absolute
was-
anarchy in the lines.
Absolutely disagree with line cutting, but it was, and I didn't want to get line cut,
Oh,
but
wow.
it was hilarious to see people just kind of like, they're like, just kind of like waddle it a little bit, they're like, oh, we're just checking our phone. Oh, I'm in line.
Oh, and because there were 20,000 people, you couldn't use your phones. Like, just
Except
forget
I
it.
could. I had
Tyler
no problems.
could.
Thanks,
And-
AT&T.
Today and yesterday, I was able to use Twitter and Instagram and Facebook Messenger, but nothing else. iMessage wouldn't work, Facebook wouldn't work. It was weird, like, seeing which apps worked and which didn't.
So, concert festival pro tip next time would be to find an alternate messenger app.
I mean, Facebook Messenger did fine.
Okay.
I would say if you're going to be music festivaling, use Facebook Messenger. They seem to compress their data pretty well.
Use Yo and only Yo. Just
Only
Yo with your friends. The only
of
message app you need.
Typical festival pro tips: have a rally point. Know what band you're meeting up for if you're going to split up to see different bands. The usual festival pro tips.
Don't sit down in front of the stage.
For the love
Right
of
before
all
the
things
band's
good
going.
and tasty, do not sit down in front of the stage while you are waiting for a band. If
Or
you're
while they're performing.
If you're going to sit, go to the back. I'm looking at you, small people during Matt and Kim and 21 Pilots.
Also, if you're up front, you don't want to get hit, you don't get touched, don't be up there. Guy that's always behind me every single concert.
It's like Mark Hoppus always says, if you are small, the front is not a good place for you. And if you are small and don't like shitty music, none of this is a good place for you.
Trying to bounce up in there, and he just let me get hype. Just come on.
Oh, and dude who's overprotective of his girlfriend who is a little bit turned off by the fact that the guy next to her has BO. Sorry, you're at a music festival. You can't punch somebody for smelling bad.
I mean, it
Shots
is.
fired.
Wait, was that day one?
No, that was today.
Oh, okay. Well, that's day three. If they had been camping there, then maybe.
We've lost Sean into just a black hole of giggles. Listeners, he is doubled over in his chair laughing at us right now. I don't know. You okay,
My
Sean?
reputation will not live up to what I am.
So,
I don't like my nickname, so I'm gonna get rid of it.
So-
I do it off camera.
this was my first weekend-long festival. I know, Sean, you did all 3 days the first year that we all went. I don't know, do you have any, let's continue to talk general festival endurance and stuff before we get into specific bands. How do you handle 3 straight days of hype train, party, concert going?
Shower before you go.
Ooh, I didn't do that. That's a good idea.
Shower before you go, so you're always fresh. Like, just deodorize,
Fresh out the kitchen.
shower. That's what I mean. Like, eat a good breakfast.
Seriously, part of the reason this podcast is called Dude's Brunch. every concert day, you should have a huge breakfast.
Bounce, bounce,
You don't want to run out
Because
of
you don't know
calories.
like when you're gonna eat again. It could
Right.
be like
Never.
food everywhere, or it could be like a food truck that sells one taco for like $26, and the line is like hugely long. I always wear running shorts when I go because they're quick dry and lined, so that way if it rains or something, I don't have to worry about like having soaked jeans. I mean, I look kind of goofy because I have short shorts on the whole day, and I have to like sunscreen my pale legs. But I mean, I think there's worse problems to have than like swamp butt or something from like walking around in wet jeans all day. That's about it though, and a hat or like sunglasses. Sunglasses that you don't care about. Like Greg and I went on Amazon and we ordered like 6 pairs of the cheapest sunglasses we could get, and had them delivered to
Cheapest,
Greg's
but
house.
most aesthetically pleasing.
Right. And then that way, if they got crushed or we lost them or something, it was like whatever. It was $1.
It's a good plan. I like that.
That's it
Where
though.
nothing
Like,
of
really-
value.
I don't
Yeah.
have it. I don't have it here with me.
No sandals.
No sandals. Sandals and mosh pits. Thumbs down. This time I brought a drawstring bag, which I'm normally not into the whole drawstring bag thing, but I had like a packable rain jacket, and what I figured out was if I wasn't wearing the rain jacket, it and like my map and stuff were in the drawstring bag, and as soon as I put the rain jacket on, I just rolled the drawstring bag up and put it in the pocket of the rain jacket, so I never had to carry anything except my water bottle, and even that could go in the backpack sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, drawstring bags, definitely recommend for music festivals. Plus, if you lose it, it's not worth any money. So,
Right. Oh, number one, sorry I forgot about this. Drew, I know you're probably not watching, but you got to bring a go man. And by go man, I mean you got to bring somebody who's like gung-ho about getting stuff. So like when we went, which was forever ago now, we had Drew, and he was our go man. So if they had like, did they have couches this year anywhere?
no.
Okay. The first year they had like couches spread throughout the place on different stages. They had couches, and if we like saw an open couch and Drew was with us, we'd be like, "Go, Drew, go!" And Drew would like full barrel sprint like across like a field, and like jump on this couch, and he got it before these girls, and they're like, "Oh, I would do anything for you." And Drew was like, "No, this is my friends," and that's why we called him the boss. Because
I'm sure
he took that couch-
2015 Drew would say otherwise, but you know, it's
2015 Drew is currently partying down at Snoop Dogg. So,
you know.
See, he deserves it. I should be buying that kid a beer right now.
he's underage, so you probably shouldn't do that.
Okay, just kidding. When you come of age, Drew, it's on me. Said it right here.
So, let's get into some bands. Sean did a lot of research on these bands, so by all means, Sean, pipe in, even though you didn't see them. We should say, Tyler and I missed the whole first, 2 hours of this festival because they wouldn't accept entry by phone, and we had to drive across the city to somebody's house to print our tickets.
What?
Yeah. We got all the way down there and had to turn around and drive away.
When did Bunbury enter the 20th century? Did they have electricity yet? When you
I don't
guys got there, did they?
They had
Well,
several guinea pig wheels powering the
I was
entire event.
we should say Promo West out of Columbus bought the festival, which is why they had a lot of the problems they had this year. Because Promo West has never mounted a festival of this size, so just putting that out there. But yeah, so we missed Wussy, Markham, Machine Heart, and Multi Magic completely. I heard Multi Magic was like a ripoff of Fun, though, so not very upset about that. We caught a little bit of Indigo Wild. I don't know, Tyler, what were your thoughts on Indigo Wild? They were the first group we saw.
Was it the one that had the glitchy effects?
That's the next one. This was
well, then it was completely unremarkable then. And then
Yep, that's what I was going to say. Let's move on. We got a lot of bands to cover. So unremarkable that that's all we need to say. Kid Runner, which was the stereotypical indie poptronica band that also did live voice glitching, which was kind of interesting.
mm-hmm.
How was
Tyler?
Temples? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, Tyler. Sorry.
I was literally not saying anything, but I thought that was. I think that the live glitching thing is pretty cool. I'd like to know how that sort of worked, and I think that It's sort of the next innovation maybe in genreification, music and sort of like live performance in general is sort of like more like voice manipulation, sort of playing with that and I don't know, the remixing and stuff, sort of like live remixing in sort of like a rock setting, not necessarily like in like a DJ set, because obviously I think you can edit that stuff kind of turntables and whatnot.
Yeah, when they first started, we took an Instagram selfie that I captioned, "Ready, set, generic indie keyboard pop band." And then they surprised us with this glitching and stuff, and they weren't just another band from Brooklyn or San Francisco. Yeah, I mean, I would see Kid Runner if they opened for somebody. I don't think I'd see him as a headliner.
I don't think they're probably headlining anything anyway.
That's a good point. Then that was the 3:30 slot. At the 4 o'clock slot, we went over to Father John Misty. Whew. Okay. Sean, have you listened to Father John Misty at all?
I think I looked at him on Spotify for like a hot second.
I listened to a few Father John Misty songs, and I pitched him to somebody else that was with us as David Bowie meets Bob Dylan. It was more like, I don't even know what it was. It was Kurt Cobain meets Bob Dylan, probably. Would you agree, Tyler? I don't know how much of that you were there for.
I mean, I was there for the whole thing, but was I really like there for that? I don't, don't get too many ideas there, internet. But I was just immediately just disengaged. I just didn't care at all. I don't know. It's just I don't know what.
He was just like writhing around, and like the lyrics at first, like when I heard a couple of songs on Spotify, I was like, okay, he's a folk singer. And then we get there, and everyone is in tribal prints, and the girls have the gold things, like the gold chains in their hair, and they're flowing around, and he's singing like, "Help me, white liberal Jesus, pay off my student loans." And these are actual lyrics, like, from his songs. It felt like so much self-parody that people were taking it seriously.
That's the song I really liked, though. That was the one that I really connected with.
I forget who I turned to during that song, but I was like, all of these girls think that they're at Woodstock, and this guy is literally making music to make fun of Woodstock. There are so many things wrong with this situation right now. And then somebody bought a $6 Coors Light in front of me, and I was just like, I've had it. And I ran into Drew during that, and he was like, "Yeah, Father John Misty, we're going over to see this band, Catfish and the Bottlemen," which I think is a good segue unless Tyler had anything else on Father John Misty.
Nope.
So we wanted to see Catfish and the Bottlemen. They were on the smallest stage, and according to the app, 1,158 people RSVP'd for their set. So they blocked the entire walkway, and you couldn't see anything. So we caught the end of Temples and part of Mini Mansions.
Temples was in Cleveland on Saturday. I'm not too into them, so I didn't go, but...
Apparently we have something going on with our visuals here. I'm gonna upload an image. Sorry, actually, just keep talking, but I'm gonna send you an image real quick to see if you can know what it is.
Anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so Temples, kind of like a poor man's Tame Impala. I don't know. They were okay. Mini Mansions, 80s indie pop. They all wore suits.
Poor man's Tame Impala.
There were a lot of poor man's something else.
Dude, man, there is shots fired all over tonight. Like it's...
I'm really tired, so the shots are just going off. They weren't bad. They just weren't all that interesting.
But I mean, that's also why they're not like headlining.
Yeah, they were at what, like 4:30. on the second biggest stage, so they were just kind of a slot filler. Um,
But I think we
Maybe.
all know the real reason why we didn't care, which is just coming up very soon.
Yeah, so the app, which was actually kind of cool, lets you see how many people added each band to your schedule. And so after day one, I would start going to bands intentionally that had smaller numbers because I wanted to like not be in huge crowds. So Temples had 744 people, and then poor Mini Mansions had 273 people because everybody else went to Bleachers, which worked out great for us because I heard that the guy from Bleachers isn't a very good singer, and it meant that Tyler and I got right up in front for Matt and Kim.
How many times have you seen them now, Taylor?
This is time number 4. This is the second time this spring.
You're catching up on me and Circa.
I am.
Second time for me. Yay!
I've also now seen Matt and Kim more than I've seen Panic at the Disco, which was the goal for 2015.
Thank God.
That was like my New Year's resolution. So I'd already seen most of this set, so I'll let Tyler give his impressions before I give mine.
Oh, how similar was it to another set? Was it like the same thing?
It was an abbreviated version of the set.
Yeah.
Kim did the twerking on the crowd during this show, which she didn't do in Columbus.
Unfortunately.
I think there was an extra cover in this set. I don't remember what it was. They did a couple of covers, and one of them I don't think they did in Columbus.
Well, of course, one of the best highlights of every Matt and Kim is the covers that they feature. You know.
The covers and the songs they play in between songs when they just dance
Right.
all over everybody.
The piano ballad of Ignition remix was prime. It was spot on. You know.
As was the "You Got What I Need" Biggie Smalls refrain cover.
Because that's really what makes Matt and Kim great. Is that it's really a performance. It's really sort of like a performance piece than necessarily just a concert.
Yeah. And it was kind of fun because we were standing around people who had never seen Matt and Kim before. And so this one lady was like halfway through her beer when they were about to come out. And I was like, "Have you ever seen them before?" She was like, "No, what are they like?" And I said, "I can't really explain it, but you don't want to have that beer in your hand when they start playing." And like 3 songs in, she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so right." And then she left after like 5 songs because it was too much for her.
Too much bouncing. Too much Cincinnati bounce.
Lots of Cincinnati bounce.
That sounds like the name of a dance, the Natty Bounce.
Nasty natty bounce.
Nasty.
Kim wasn't as raunchy as she usually is.
Well,
Actually,
seems
no,
like they
no,
definitely
I
were.
take that back. I'll let Tyler give an account because I think he'll explain.
Oh, I was just saying. It feels like they did. I feel like they did what they could because clearly Bunbury wasn't having any of their shit, crowd surfing and whatnot, and general fun having. The last time I saw them, which was like in some park in Indiana, they could probably do whatever they wanted. So
There were more kids in Indiana than there were at Bunbury, though, which is
Right.
probably why Kim pulled down her pants a little bit and showed us the tattoo she has on her pelvis.
sorry for Peacock.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. Matt also wanted to slow it down for a second, and Kim was like, "No, we gonna get sexy with it." And that proceeded into lots and lots of grinding on her bass drum and, you know, that sort of thing.
Lots of wiggling overall.
Yeah, if you're not wiggling during a Matt and Kim set, you're doing something wrong. Or you just have no rhythm. Anything else, Matt and Kim?
I don't know. It was
Sean's
clearly
never
like,
seen Matt and Kim, which just blows my mind. I
Right.
don't know how he's been friends with me for like almost a decade now and hasn't seen this band.
I wasn't a huge fan of Matt and Kim before I saw them live, but posting them live, easily probably one of my favorite live events. I I don't know if they're my favorite to like listen to just in the car, but certainly if they're around and there's a concert going on, I'm probably there. You know, they've made me big fan of their live show. They really make it an experience. So I would highly suggest anyone who's thinking about seeing them should definitely see them.
So that brings us to the band that Sean was most excited about and didn't get to see. Tyler and I opted
I think the whole
because of Sean.
lineup of Woods at the End was just...
Yeah, but because we love you, Sean, we decided not to go to Walk the Moon, and instead, we saw Royal Blood.
That's okay, because Walk the Moon can suck it.
Shots fired.
Why
can Walk the Moon suck it, Tyler?
It's
You're not respecting our Cincinnati bands, man.
all right, Cincy local music. Okay, all right. I feel like my hater rate just skyrocketed when I think a famous Cincinnati personality tweeted about how Walk the Moon was inspiring local music. I'm like, are they really? I mean, who locally is really inspired by Walk the Moon? If we're being real.
Yeah, I think local musicians are more inspired by Wussy than Walk the Moon.
They're probably inspired by literally anything else.
So yeah, we didn't see Walk the Moon. Instead, we saw Royal Blood. Bass guitar, drum set, vocals duo from England. Easily the most metal thing on the lineup. Very loud. Not the loudest thing of the weekend, but quite loud. And crazy stage presence. Like, for two people, they have almost as much stage presence as Matt and Kim.
Which is also two people.
Yeah.
As much presence as a band that's full of people, that has a lot of people in it. Let's just say
Arcade Fire.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
Any ska band or Mumford & Sons.
Mumford & Sons' whole career is based on stage presence. Yeah, I went there. But yeah, Royal Blood was really good. We sat down for a lot of their set because we were tired, but as soon as they started the riff for Out of the Black, we stood up, and they probably drug that song on for, what, like 6-7 minutes?
Yep, they really...
And it was all worth it. They, like, at the end of it, it speeds up, and I don't know his name, but the frontman did a solo and then did a really long pregnant pause, which non-fans thought, like, oh, they're done! And then they did the fast part, and then they did the riff, and then they let the riff just descend into drone and noise. And he held the guitar over his head, played it with one hand, took one of the drummer's drumsticks, and played the crash cymbal with the other hand, and just did like crazy feedback loop stuff for a couple minutes, and then pulled it all back together and did the riff again and ended it. I mean, they could just play that one song and leave, and it would still be one of the best sets I saw all weekend. Hands down.
I have to be victorious because I want to cry now.
You called it.
That's right.
You looked this band up months ago, and you were like, I want to see Royal Blood.
Just wish I was in there. I was surprised there wasn't more attempts at watching. Yeah, but
I just don't think they had the crowd for it. I think at a headlining show, they would just be a massive mosh pit.
But I did realize once I kind of got there and I was hearing them, I was like, this isn't really necessarily something you can really, like, get into like that. It's not really very, like... It's, like, sort of like an even mix between, like, punk and then, like, sort of like maybe, like, a Black Keys, like, set. Because you're not, like... getting rowdy with Black Keys, but like Punk, obviously you're getting into it because it's like super fast, up tempo, but Black Keys is more about like the grooves, so it's like you're kind of like in that middle zone, so it felt a little weird like that to see it live. Still great, but I don't know. I just don't think it's something I need to open up the pit for.
Yeah, I'd still see them again.
Yeah, right. I'm not saying that. That's not saying that they're bad. That's just saying
If
I
they
would
come
like-
back, if they come back to Ohio, I'm gonna definitely see them.
you could definitely wiggle to them. We'll say that.
The Tyler test. Can you wiggle to the band?
I mean, there's always a different wiggle. A Matt and Kim wiggle is different from a royal blood wiggle. So.
Next week on Dudes Brunch, the many wiggles of Tyler Reed.
So after Royal Blood, we got food, and then started to watch Tame Impala, who
Be honest.
I have passed my psychedelic phase. So it had started to drizzle when Tame Impala went on, and I was like, and then they started getting their groove going, and I was like, okay, this is all right. We're sitting really far back, so we can't smell the pot. Okay, this is going to be good. And then the sky let loose, and it just poured. And we more or less ran. We couldn't really run because, there were like 20,000 people there. But we were hauling some ass.
It was that scene from The Lion King where all the water buffalo are running.
Yes, that's
down to the
exactly
valley.
what it was. And everybody had the same idea. Let's get into the tunnels underneath the Purple People Bridge.
Poor Mufasa.
So then the tunnels just look like something out of a zombie movie where there's a herd of people not really going anywhere but still moving from side to side. And so we were like, fuck this, and hid under some trees. And
Which didn't help, by the way.
we were all soaked. And poor Tame Impala is just out there, like, tripping their hearts out. And the true diehards are out there like, yeah, Tame Impala! And we were all just, like, trying to hide from the rain.
It would have been me.
Unfortunately, you can't open up a pit to Tame Impala, so, opportunity wasted, I guess.
I feel like you probably could have opened up a pit if you had just started spinning around in circles on the sidewalk while people were trying to get through in the rain.
Do you have a hula hoop? Did you have a hula hoop?
No.
Tie-dye?
That's the perfect way to open up the pit. You just tie a hula hoop so you have like a little personal space bubble and then just run in circles.
I can just imagine the Tame Impala pit just being like 160,000 people just hula hooping at the same time, like trying not to run their hula hoops into each other.
Honestly, it was a lot of this, just like swaying back and forth. It wasn't really the drug sway, but it was a sway. Because the drug sway. Like, you've seen Festival Girl do the drug sway before. I'm not going to do it because I can't. But you know what I'm talking about. The people listening to the audio podcast know what I'm talking about, right? Zach Peralt knows what I'm talking about.
We need to have like my brother on here to do like an instructional video on choreographing concert goers, the different kinds of waggles, the different kinds of sways.
That sounds great. We could do a featurette about concert etiquette and appropriate concert dancing. Viewers and listeners, tweet in your concert dance move.
That's my concert dance move.
Tyler's concert dance move is apparently just punching his webcam.
That's exactly what it looks like too. It's literally right in your eyeballs.
Go for the eyes!
So tweet us in what your concert dance move is. If it doesn't have a name, make one up.
Like the wiggle.
Like the wiggle. The crackhead wiggle. Do you guys know about the crackhead wiggle? My friend Tim invented the crackhead wiggle. It's just a backwards Bernie. So instead of bending forwards, you just bend backwards. It's a crackhead wiggle. Anyway. So the Black Keys were the headliner on Friday night. And by the time we got through the crowd of angry wet people, Tyler and and our friend Jack and his girlfriend and I all just kind of chilled on this like concrete step thing a pretty good ways back from the stage. It was still pretty soggy. The video screens kept cutting out because they seemed to have gotten rain damaged or something. I don't know. Tyler was just so beat during this. Like, I want you to describe your emotional state during this set before I go any further.
I mean, I wasn't. I mean, I was doing all right, but my feet, my little feet. No, I was just. I don't know. I just been standing a lot, you know. I don't know.
He was just sitting, like, on the ground.
I didn't care. I don't give a shit. I'll sit wherever I want.
Like he was playing, you know.
I blew my load. I blew it too early. You know. I blew it all on Bad Kim, which, you know, if we're gonna blow my load on something, it better be Bad Kim.
Kim would be pleased.
Right, she would be pleased.
Somewhere, whatever city she's in tonight, Kim is twerking on something for you, Tyler.
Good.
That would be like the most rewarding fan postcard ever.
Dear Kim, let's talk about Bunbury. I'd seen the Black Keys before. I didn't think they had very much energy that night. They just didn't seem to be on their A game. And
well, I feel like for me, it's just like I go to a live show to like experience them, to get some of that flavor of like them as like people, you know, like a little bit more than just listening to the songs. But as you said that that's not really their thing. They don't really talk a lot.
I mean, they did more the first time I saw them, but they still don't talk very much.
I was just like, what makes us different from listening to it on CD? So, I mean, I hate to be like that, but man, it was just they just played it. You know, they played straight, and you know, if that's what you want, you know,
yeah.
some people might just want that.
I mean, the solos were a little bit better, but on the whole, it was pretty much just straight off the record.
That's true. The final song was pretty good.
Yeah, they closed with Little Black Submarines.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
Better
I kind of wanted them to close with Thick Freakness.
Yeah.
Which is what they usually close with. But Little Black Submarines was over, and then the night was just kind of over. There was no good night or anything. The song ended, and everybody left.
Weird.
You guys weren't there when the first year. Well, Tyler, were you there the first day?
Probably.
When Jane's Addiction closed and
Nope.
they told Perry Farrell, like, okay, it's time to get off stage, and he was like, no! I still have 4 more songs I have to play in this set. And, like, you could, like, see him giving him the warning. Like Billy Joe Armstrong on Green Day. You saw that video where he, like, flipped out when they, like, cut him off. And he, like, threw his guitar on stage and stuff. It was kind of like that, just didn't end with all the drama. But he just kept saying, like, we are not done until I say we're done.
Well, and that's an interesting discussion for a later podcast, too. Cities like Cincinnati have decibel limits after a certain hour, which is why concerts have to end at a specific time. In Cincinnati, I think it's 11:30. It's either 11 or 11:30. And if they go past that, the band gets fined. And I've actually seen bands, like, go over and acknowledge the fact that they're going to get fined. Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco, the second time I saw them, was about to launch into a cover of Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. And he was like, you know what, I don't even care how much... He was really drunk because he's an alcoholic. He was like, I don't even care how much they fine me because you sexy people deserve this. And then he sang Let's Get It On, and it got really creepy because the audience was all 14. Brendan Urie, if you're listening, you creep me out, but you're really talented. Anything else on Friday before we launch into Saturday? I'll try and get through Saturday faster since it was just me.
The best. I mean, what's funny is that there's still like a baseball game going on, so it's like, why does it even matter?
Oh yeah, the Reds game was rained at late, and it was still going on after the Black Keys finished. That's right.
Wait, so So you can't perform after 11:30, but you can shoot off fireworks at any time.
But you could play the greatest sport ever invented, Sean. That's what you could do.
The mandolin?
The mandolin is not a sport.
Neither is mayonnaise.
Boy, we are just throwing all the one-liners tonight.
That's right.
All right, so let's talk Saturday. I was the only one who went to Saturday and Sunday, so I'm going to try and fly through them a little bit faster. I got there a little bit late intentionally because I didn't care about the first few bands. I saw Bummers at 3:30 from Columbus. Pretty generic stoner rock. I mean, they were good. They were just stoner rock. Bummers?
Oh, okay.
There will be a Spotify playlist, everyone, of bands that we saw. Sean is gesticulating wildly. What, Sean?
Cavs won game 2.
Hey, what up?
Yay, Cleveland.
Take that, ABC and ESPN. You guys hate on us all the time. It's proven. We already know it. And Thompson rolled on Kyle Irving and broke his kneecap, and that was fragrant and known, and he should have gotten thrown out, and he should have been in the first place because he got a concussion, and it just goes to show that Cleveland finally. Thank you for this. Okay, sorry.
Sports. Okay.
Kyrie Irving, sorry.
Boy, I guess I should stop and read some tweets real quick.
Thanks, Gavin.
Let's see. Seth says, the hippie sway is a good go-to. For reference, just look in any direction to find a hippie barefooted type. And Catherine says, hashtag mandolin is the sport, hashtag nasty natty bounce. Tyler, on Friday, Tyler was saying, we just need good quotes from the show to put on t-shirts. I want mandolin is not a sport t-shirt. I will wear that everywhere. Tweet us if you will wear a mandolin is not a sport t-shirt, because that's awesome.
At hashtag mandolin is not a sport.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then I listened to a little bit of Genevieve, who was kind of like an EDM-influenced pop singer. She was pretty good. She was really humble. She was like, hey, I just put out my first EP, and this is my first legitimate festival, and thank you so much for caring about me. And I felt really good for her. Like, not my style of music, but props on you for like getting some recognition.
You might be Ellie Goulding someday. Don't worry, little girl.
But then...
Uh-oh.
But then I saw the Secret Sisters. And a bunch of people went to Devil Makes 3 instead, who are like, this was the Bluegrass Folk Country Day. Devil Makes 3 are like a popular band in that style. Don't care. Secret Sisters, take my money. It's these two sisters from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and then they have like their backing band, and they sing classic style country with the most beautifully harmonized voices you've ever heard. I posted a video on my personal Instagram. I'll like share it on the Dudes Brunch page.
Does Jack White know about these people?
Yeah, Jack White actually cut a 45 with them when they were first getting started.
Hey, what up?
It's the first Blue Series 45 from Third Man Records.
Okay.
If you know about that. So yeah, they did a really great set. Their stage personas are hilarious. They're just these little Southern girls, and there was this great moment where they were like, so there's this town real close to where we live down in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, where you can run across the border and get married without your parents' permission underage. And that's how our grandparents got married. We wanted to write a song about that, but it kind of felt boring. So we made it into a murder ballad and killed all the characters. Don't get too attached. I'm not kidding. That's actually what they said.
You can take my money.
Right? And then they just sang this beautiful murder ballad, and they closed with an a cappella number of like a 50s Tin Pan Alley pop song. That's the one I have a video of. I mean, Secret Sisters, I had the 45 and didn't listen to them very much otherwise. I will see them anytime they come to Ohio. So good. Completely outside of my normal genre taste. Don't care.
And that's what going to a festival is all about.
It is.
Experimenting.
But then, speaking of experimenting, Lindsey Sterling started the minute they finished. And Lindsey Sterling is dubstep violin. So after the first bass drop, I was like, nope. and I noped on out of there over to the other side of the festival and caught Graceful Closure, who played a lot of covers of The Fray and Coldplay.
Oh my!
They got a 5:15 slot.
Yeah, they got a 5:15 slot and they played covers. I was just like, no.
How many covers?
At least 3 in a half-hour set. Tyler is like cocking his head in
Fucking
disbelief,
what?
listeners. You rot.
Oh,
No! Oh no, Taylor just left. Taylor's gone.
what does this mean?
I don't know. We're still live though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, everybody. So we're facing a little bit of technical difficulties right now. Taylor will probably be back momentarily. We'll probably have to end this podcast and start a new one with him, unless he can rejoin, which is a real possibility.
All right, let's.
I'm gonna work on it right now. Man, I'm so happy
Alright.
the Cavs won.
Hopefully, his internet didn't just die or something.
Yeah. Or is it raining down there?
Not where I'm at,
Okay.
which is 5 minutes away from him. Well, I didn't go to these other days, so I wouldn't know.
I know, me neither. But now I kind of want to see the bands that he's talking about at least.
Right.
So, guess we should just keep
Do
going.
you like Lindsey Sterling, Sean?
I have never heard of Lindsey Sterling. I think the concept is neat, so I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna listen to her. But I'm not gonna hate on dubstep.
Dude, there we go.
We're
Hey,
back.
what up?
Sorry, technical difficulties, y'all. I don't know what happened there.
We carried on just a little bit, but
We're just making fun of them for playing covers.
No, I started to ask about Lindsey Sterling and how Sean felt about its violated dubstep-inspired violin playing.
How do you feel about that, Sean?
you have to go back and watch it. I already talked about it.
Go
I have
watch
to go
it
back and
later.
watch my own podcast. What? Okay. So then let's talk about the Decemberists, if you guys are ready to move on.
Man,
Mhm.
yeah.
I only sat through the ridiculousness of Graceful Closure to get to the Decemberists, who, I mean, they're really good. Like, they're very, very talented. I was pretty far back, so I couldn't tell necessarily how much stage presence they had. But I just really like their songwriting. And so just sitting there listening to them play the songs and hearing Colin Malloy's voice, like, float over the field in the middle of summer, I was like, oh, this is really pleasant, and there are all these hipsters dancing around me, and I
Are
just
you
wanna
trying to tell me
listen
if you
to
felt
Colin.
Infinite, Taylor?
No, I didn't really feel
Yeah,
infinite
feel-
because there was this weird, like, late 30s biker couple who were definitely on substances doing the hippie wiggle in front of me
Oh.
and this other group of people I was sitting with. So every once in a while we would laugh at them, but then the rest of the time we were just really enjoying the Decemberists, and it was really nice.
So speaking of them, I really kind of wanted to see them because I've been reading all of Colin's books, and I just wanted to show you. He has like a graphic designer that works with him. Let me find a picture. And they do these like illustrations. I don't know if you can see this. Put it in front of the camera. And the illustrator is like really cool. And
Yeah.
I love his books. Like, okay, so they're for kids. They're called the Wildwood series. And I still have to read
Oh.
the final one in the series, but they are really fantastic. And my hope was kind of if I got to see them, that maybe I could get them to sign my books so I could keep them and forever be like, man, I love your books. I don't listen to your music, but I like your books a lot.
They
Does that-
tour.
Does that hurt?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't say that you don't listen to their music, but I would be like, hey, Colin, I'm a grown man, but I really like your books. Please sign this.
They read fast, dude. They're great.
I want to borrow them from you. He's a really talented writer.
They're cheap too. You can get them on Amazon for like a penny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll just do that.
Even new, they're like $8.
Oh, I was like, literally a penny? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they were really good. They played a good mix of their entire catalog. A lot of fan favorites, a couple cuts off the new record. Some good accordion soloing, which I always appreciate. Yeah, I like the Decemberists.
My opinion of them have really improved over time, because I feel like when I first heard about them, they just sounded, I don't know, very woodsy. They felt, I don't know, what was that album that came out like 10 years ago? Oh my god, what's wrong with me?
The rock opera one?
No.
Okay, because that's my
21st
favorite
Century Breakdown.
one. Uno dos tres. Uno dos tres.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Decemberist albums. They have Picaresque. They have Her Majesty.
Oh, the Hazards of Love.
Yeah,
that's
the
what
one
it
I
was.
like. The Hazards of Love. I love that album.
I don't know. I have to probably gotta listen to it again, because at the time I was kind of like, I don't know, I was like anti-Fleet Foxes and like Decemberists, because they were like,
They were at peak Fleet Foxes. Yeah.
right, they're like mountain folky sounding. They're like, I don't know, they're like long beard Jesus kind of things. And I was like,
we should have Mountain Folky versus Mumble Folk battle festival beatdown with Mumford & Sons versus the Decemberists. You have to use your own instruments. Winner take all. Death battle.
Sounds great.
I'm in.
We're gonna folk your face up.
Also, we should have Battle of the Band with so many people in it you can't tell who's in the band and who's on the crew and who's a cast member on Saturday Night Live. I don't know who would win, Decemberists or Arcade Fire.
Oh. My money's going on Arcade Fire. I don't know if you've seen Wes. Wes, I don't remember what his last name is, their lead singer, but that dude's like 8 feet tall.
That's true.
He's like the ogre of Canada.
So after Decemberists, I was sitting in this field and my coworkers left again, and the next band came on, and this lady was like, "Oh, who's next? I just want to sit here until Old Crow Medicine Show." And I was like, "Oh, it's the Reverend Horton Heat." And she was like, "What kind of music does he play?" And I was like, "Psychobilly." And she was like, "What is that?"
Oh, you're in for a real treat, lady.
And then the bikers flooded in, and they started their set, and after a 4-minute instrumental, I'm not kidding, 4 minutes, just instrumental, Reverend Horton just gets up to the mic and goes, "It's a psychobilly freakout!" And then, I don't know what happened for the rest of that set. I had to get up and go get food at one point because the bass was just so loud. I have never heard a string bass so loud in my life. It's just a guitar, a string bass, and a drum kit. And they were so loud. They did a really good cover of Johnny Be Good.
Wait, Psychobilly Freakout isn't even their song.
Yeah, it is. Psychobilly
Is
Freakout
it?
is a Reverend Horton Heat song.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. I was getting ready to get upset. Never mind.
There were lots of, like, rockabilly dads with their kids wearing
Aww.
earplugs, like, rocking out. It was cool. I would not want to go see Reverend Horton Heat at a headlining show because all the songs kind of sound the same and they're really, really loud. But it was something different in the middle of a festival right after the Decemberists. So, Reverend Horton Heat.
You climb out of the woods. Like, what awaits me now? And it's... Rock this rockers out.
And then Margaret arose from the taiga into a psychobilly freakout. So after... Oh, so I should mention, Friday we had Father John Misty. Saturday we had Reverend Horton Heat. And Sunday we're going to get to Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band. So there were some pretty nigh-on religious folk rock experiments this weekend. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk Old Crow Medicine Show. Old Crow Medicine Show, a.k.a. the band that cool parents like. Most popular for the song Wagon Wheel. They're very, very talented bluegrass musicians. They can pick and a grin just like the rest of them. Very good harmonica, good vocals. mason jar chandeliers hanging from the top of the stage. It was just a big old hoedown. And I have enough Appalachia in my roots to be like, yeah, I appreciate this, but not enough to know how to dance to that kind of music. So I just kind of chilled out in the back. And then the eight.
You can't see it, but I'm kicking my legs.
There wasn't a spoon player, surprisingly. There was no spoon player or washboard player.
Oh.
Sean was doing his best spoon player impression earlier for listeners on the audio podcast. And then there was the mass exodus of hoedown type peoples from Old Crow Medicine Show over to the Avett Brothers, who were the Saturday night headliner. Sean's putting his thumbs down. I was pretty skeptical going into it. I really thought I was going to leave early. They had more stage presence than the Black Keys. They pick and a grin. They do some pretty heavy guitar lifting. Their cellist, they have like a cello player, very, very cool, very talented. And they're just running all over the stage, swapping instruments, making tons of noise. I don't know that I would go and see them on my own, but if somebody invited me to go, I'd go again. They're pretty fun. Almost every song is about whiskey or women, so I can appreciate that, I guess.
What else is there?
Yeah. Sean, you don't seem impressed by the Avett Brothers.
No.
That's probably how I felt about Matt and Kim, and then I saw them live. Probably an accurate depiction.
If I wanted to listen to a band sing about whiskey and women, I would just go see Gaslight Anthem again.
So you're not a country person?
No. Absolutely not.
See, I can appreciate the Avett Brothers and Old Crow because they're like the nice... They're not Southern rock. They're a little more country than Southern rock. But they've got just enough rock in there without it being poppy that I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, they're not like Blake Shelton or something like that. So that was Saturday. Let's just dive right into Sunday. Got there right when the gates opened, caught a little bit of Pluto Revolts, Cincinnati local band. Give them some love. They're pretty cool.
Do you know someone in that band?
people
That's people we know, right?
I feel like I know somebody in that band. Does anybody want to look up who's actually in Pluto Revolts? My internet connection's pretty slow.
I'm looking it up right now.
Cool. I didn't stay for their whole set, though, because I, floored it to get over to the Front Bottoms.
There you go.
Do you guys listen to the Front Bottoms?
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked me on the way over what the Front Bottoms were, and I said, well, it's like punk emo influences, but it's acoustic guitar, trumpet, drum set, and New Jersey vocals. And that's kind of what it's like. The songs are very wordy, they don't always rhyme, the lyrics are emo, the voice inflection is a little bit emo, but very Jersey.
So
And
is it like Bruce Springsteen meets Dave Matthews meets Hawthorne Heights?
no, like one of their more popular songs, the chorus is, I'm going to have to learn that this love is never going to be convenient. There's never music when we kiss. It's not like the movies when we kiss.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like, there's just not, like, it doesn't really rhyme. It's not, like, they're very aware of the musical tropes that they're subverting, which makes them fun. They're also, like, sort of disaffected. And so, you know, they're just kind of up there, like, rocking out, not really saying a whole lot. They're like, thanks for paying attention to us. And then the first piece of stage banter that the singer does, he finishes a song and he's like, so, there are so many good bands here. I just can't wait to finish playing, get wasted, and watch a bunch of good music. And everybody cheered. And he was like, what do you think my odds are of smoking some pot with Snoop Dogg tonight? And everybody cheered, but I think in the back of our mind we're all thinking, yeah, actually, really, what are those odds? Because, like, it has to be pretty low. Like, there's a very good chance that anybody who wants to is going to smoke pot with Snoop Dogg today. So they were fun. They have a lot of presence for an acoustic band. The people that I saw them with said they really probably should have been on later in the day because the energy just wasn't there and it was really, really, really hot.
Mm-hmm.
Went from there to the Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band, which is actually a three-piece. I know, right? It gets
You
better.
got me, guys. You made
It's
me.
like Greenwood.
It gets better. The Reverend Peyton is a chubby guy in a tank top with black jeans held up by suspenders, holding a I can't think of the type of guitar. It's got the steel opening underneath the string. Sean, what kind of guitar is that?
Oh, crap. I just forgot what it was.
Opening again.
Hold on, let me look it up.
Seth is watching the show. He'll tweet in what it's called. So
There
he's
we
playing. He's playing a mean slide guitar, and he's got that southern stage presence. At one point, he tells the audience to get up, and they don't get up. And he's
It's called a resonator guitar.
Resonator guitar. Oh, I came to a concert, and the mean old Reverend Peyton made me stand up. That's what he's like. The rest of his band is a drummer and a washboard player. That's it.
You know, I was expecting a little bit more, but I mean,
It was really good. Like, I thought it was a little campy when I was listening to it from a distance. And for a three-piece, they make a ton of noise. He's a great slide guitar player.
Cool.
A lot of fun. They do have a song called Pot Roastin' Kisses, which is catchy as all hell, but it's kind of dumb. All of the songs are kind of dumb, but I don't think anybody's listened to the Big Damn Band for enlightenment or intelligence.
Existential crisis.
Yeah. So the next band, finally, I can stop talking and you guys can talk too, because we have now all seen this band. I think most of us have seen them multiple times, and that's Manchester Orchestra. Thoughts on Manchester Orchestra?
What was their last hit?
Every Stone off of Cope is doing pretty well right now.
mm-hmm.
Simple Math off of the album of the same name did pretty well.
I can't think of any of these things.
Ooh, does that mean you've fallen off the Manchester Orchestra train, John?
Yeah.
Because
It's
you
okay.
were on that train, you were riding it.
I don't remember.
So if you had to use one word to describe Manchester Orchestra, what would it be?
I mean, that's a pretty big question to ask there, Taylor. Because I mean, I feel
I
like that's-
disagree.
No, all right, then what is it, Taylor? What's the word?
Loud.
Okay. Well, that's
Manchester Orchestra is without a doubt the loudest band I have ever seen. I've seen them 3 times, and every time they're louder than every other band on the bill. To a point where it's almost difficult to be around. I posted an Instagram photo from like probably 300 yards away, and I said, "This is the appropriate distance from which to experience Manchester Orchestra." #tinnitus.
Well, I mean, they want you to hear them.
They really do, and like they're really talented, but oh my gosh, they have a keyboard player, and I couldn't even hear the keyboard over the guitars. He's just sitting there like pounding chords and headbanging, holding the same chord, and I'm like, I can't hear that. Why are you even here? So I left towards the end of their set.
Unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen them again because when I saw them many years ago, I was really impressed. I really liked them.
Yeah, no, they were cool when we saw them at Bunbury Uno.
They definitely had a good energy and a good like presence, and I feel like I feel like they had just enough. Like there was just enough to enough value to see them live.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
That's why I remember that band.
Right, because they get excited. I mean, definitely.
There was another reason.
Is it a reason that we can share on the podcast or not?
No, I'll tell you guys after.
Ooh, bonus feature. Any other thoughts on Manchester Orchestra?
They were good. When I saw them, I liked them a lot. I just went to YouTube and looked up some of their songs, just like remember, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't know. They kind of seemed. This festival has like a really. It seemed like it had a kind of a strange lineup this year. Not bad. It just seemed like they were kind of all over. Maybe it's like a good description of the indie scene right now, though. That it's kind of like folky, kind of southern rocky, kind of country-esque, kind of rock, kind of eclectic.
That sounds great to me. I have no problem with that.
So, because I just think like after you have like Reverend Horton Heat or somebody like that, and you have like Manchester Orchestra, it's like okay. And then Snoop Dogg, just think like wow, you guys are like trying to get. I don't know if they're trying to get everybody to come or if they're just like.
I think that's what they're doing, but I'll talk about that more later.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So, I really didn't want to see this, but Manchester was loud and I wanted to get food, and all the food was over by this.
See Lil Dicky?
I saw the end of Lil Dicky.
How was that?
Oh my gosh. I can't believe he's a real person. I realize, okay, before a bunch of Lil Dicky fans latch onto this and start tweeting at me, Drew, I understand that he has a level of self-parody. But his last song, it was called, like, Let Me Free or something. He asked for a girl out of the audience, made sure she was 18, thankfully, put her in a chair in the center of the stage, and then starts rapping about, like, going to the club, and he can't get this girl, and he just wants to get this girl, and then the chorus talks about, like, I'm trying to be better, I'm trying not to fart as much, I even, like, wore a cardigan to dinner that one time, and, like, I'm not kidding, these are, like, actual lyrics. So then in the second verse, he starts talking about how he gets this girl home, and he basically just raps the rest of the song while grinding on this girl who is sitting in this chair, who he pulled out of the audience not, like, 4 minutes earlier. And she's just, like, completely bewildered. She had no idea what she was getting herself into. And he's wearing tiny short shorts that are basically boxers, just grinding all over her and rapping. And the audience is just like, yeah, like drunken frat boy yelling. You say that they want this festival to appeal to everybody? I don't see any other reason why they would put Lil Dicky on this bill.
Whoa.
There is no reason for him to be here unless you're just really trying to get ticket money. Come at me.
I mean, who's Lil Dicky for?
I mean, Drew was jokingly tweeting about seeing Lil Dicky, but he also likes to see like weird trolly things like that. So maybe if you're just like into it for the troll value, I guess.
That's a really bad reason.
That sounds like a segment right there.
Bands you listen to troll other people.
A quick Google search,
Mac
or
Miller.
quick Google image search of this guy, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to see this.
I didn't want to see it either. I turned to a random stranger next to me, and I was like, isn't this supposed to be kid-friendly? Because there are tons of kids at this festival. We didn't touch on this earlier. And this, I mean, he must have been like 17, maybe. He was like, yeah, there's no way that my parents would like what I'm hearing right now. And I was like, dude, I'm like a grown adult and I don't like what I'm hearing right now. This is making me very uncomfortable.
But the Snoop Dogg was here. What do you want? Like,
I think Snoop would seriously be less offensive, even with all the pot smoking, than some of the things Lil Dicky was saying.
So I'm on his website right now, and it looks like he actually does that little chair thing as like a regular part of his kitsch. Is that he?
It just ugh. And the thing about it was, the only reason I was over on that side of the festival was to see Atmosphere, who is like one of the biggest names in conscious hip hop, and like, you know, talking about activism and social justice issues and all of this cool stuff, who went right after Lil Dicky. And to add insult to injury for poor Atmosphere, well, almost all of the crowd was people who had been camping out for 21 Pilots. Single day tickets to this festival cost $80.
That's why I didn't go.
I met a pair of teenagers whose parents drove them up from Knoxville, surprised them with tickets, only to see 21 Pilots. They showed up an hour before 21 Pilots and caught all of Atmosphere because they wanted to be in the music video that 21 Pilots filmed tonight.
Well,
I have never seen so many 14-year-old girls gathered together in any one place. And so they're all there for Atmosphere. And I'm like 10 rows back with another person I don't know who likes Atmosphere. And so when they come out and we get like 2 songs in, Slug, the rapper, he's got 2 DJs that he works with as well. He's like, I know that y'all are here for much cooler bands than us, but I just appreciate y'all for looking at me. And I was like, man, this is a tough place to be in. Because you've been in this game for at least a decade now. And, you know, Cincinnati is one of those cities that you like started out touring in, and you're playing this huge festival, and there's a huge crowd, but almost none of them care about you. Like, you tell them to put their hands up, and they just stand there.
Did you, Tyler?
really?
Yes.
Did you go see POS with us at Warped Tour like 10 years ago?
Oh my God.
I felt like it was like the same thing. He had like the same thing. He was like, you know, he was like the outlier at the Screamo concert, and he was like fantastic. Ever since I saw him, I'm listening to his music all the time, but it was like no one else was there to see him. There's all these other people. There's like 100 people standing in front of the stage, and they're literally just like standing there, and he's like trying to like hype people to do stuff, and it's just like...
Listeners, Sean is just sitting stock still, which is basically what the 14-year-olds were doing during Atmosphere.
Which reminds me of another
Which sucks so much.
Warped Tour story. Westbound Train, which is like... I don't even know how to describe Westbound Train. It's sort of like... It wasn't Warped Tour music, okay? You know, and then
Another outlier act.
Right. Census Fail came on after them, and he just was pissed. He's like, you guys are disrespectful to Westbound Train. Those guys like was talking about how they play their instruments really well, and you know they've been write great music, and because you know
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
See, and I really wanted 21 Pilots to do that. I thought that was a good move for them, especially as like a hip-hop influenced act. They went on 10 minutes late, and the crowd was... I want to talk about Atmosphere before I start into 21 Pilots.
Right.
Atmosphere, for being pissed off, still had good stage presence, held it together because he knew that people... Well, I guess they knew, but Slug is the main part of the act. Knew that people were there to see them. Played a great mix of back catalog and current stuff. Did a really nice segue where one of his songs, one of the more popular songs, is called "Sunshine." It's about waking up hungover and having a bad day, and you know, talks about like my girlfriend made me coffee and I went for a bike ride and I started feeling better, and then I heard somebody on the street playing one of my songs in their car. And then instead of finishing Sunshine, he just started into the song that they would have been playing in his car and used that as a way to like do a long medley of tunes from his older albums.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool.
Cool. I like that.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Great way to do fan service, I thought.
And I think that's the point of going to a concert, is that where you get something just a little bit different. I mean, you're at a festival. I mean, it's like...
Everybody's only playing for an hour or less, you know?
You might as well do something fun. I mean, I'm sure it's hard work to kind of do something on the fly, but, I mean, it makes me want to come back. Makes me want to see you more, so...
I agree. So Atmosphere finishes up, and then more and more people show up for 21 Pilots, and then more teenagers show up for 21 Pilots, and then I'm surrounded by teenagers, and then they all start sitting down, and I'm like, oh, hell no! And
Didn't 21 Pilots do I Can Ride My Bike with No Handlebars or something?
No, it's 12 Pilots. Nice try.
That's that other band that no one talks about anymore.
Is 21 Pilots. So, 21 Pilots go on 10 minutes late, which is frustrating because there are a ton of people who are only there to see them. Lots of young people at that. When they finally go on, there is a 14-year-old girl screaming in my ear, and I told her, you either need to stop or get in front of me. And she was like, it's a concert. And I was like, no, you don't know my life. And like shoved her in front of me. Because I was not having that.
You don't know my life.
I'm not about it.
Hilarious.
The 21 Pilots fandom is ridiculous. They paint themselves like the singer does in the music videos. And just, like, they're so over the top and they're so young. Kids who are, like, 14, never been to their first concert, and their parents spent $80 for them to see this one band for an hour.
Are they Christian?
Very
Undertones.
loosely. Yeah, Christian undertones.
Okay.
Um,
I'm looking at their website, and they look like kind of like Green Day meets emo meets I don't know.
Those are all wrong, but that's okay.
well, in terms of visual appearance, yeah. But,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Music-
yeah. Sorry, yeah. I've heard a little bit of their music. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
musically, it's EDM, reggae, and hip-hop put together.
Oh my god.
Lots and lots of white reggae.
They like the perfect.
They even did a Bob Marley cover. And somebody started to smoke some pot, and I was like, what are you doing smoking pot around these 14-year-old girls? Also, why are you smoking pot when 21 Pilots cover Bob Marley? Just wait 20 minutes until Snoop Dogg goes on and smoke
Right.
pot like a regular human being. I'm just going to get all of my ranting out. They shot a music video. The point of the music, or the part of the music video that they needed the crowd for was, it was actually really cool. During like the quiet bridge of a song, they had everybody row by row crouch down like a bunch of dominoes all the way through the park, which looked really great. And then once the beat kicked back in, everybody jumped up and started jumping up and down. Cool idea for a music video, or at least a part of a music video. Problem was, once everybody jumped back up, the whole crowd surged forwards, and I was 6 inches from everyone around me on all sides, and really gross for the rest of the set, and it was right in the middle. Probably should have put that towards the end of the set. You know, just saying.
Well, if you mess it up, you want to be able to have some other retries.
Right. I'm sure that's what they wanted to do. They use a lot of backing tracks, which I understand. They're a duo and they're playing housey type stuff. But to the point where even some verses, like lyric verses, because they were pitch shifted, were backing track, and he was just kind of lip syncing them. And I was like, you know. And so the first couple times he did that, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Sean is making a nasty face right now. Do you want to make a comment?
Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. If you can respond to that, what I just said, in any form about who I was making fun of right there, I will send you artwork.
Tweet him. At Evans_MURGE. Tweet him.
Tyler, are you going?
I was looking it up.
No, my old teacher just Instagrammed, wow, 21 Pilots, what an epic performance. So glad we got to be part of that. And
So here's the thing. I was unhappy with the crowd, with them going on late, with some of the weird things with lip syncing. But holy crap, I couldn't help but leave that thing satisfied. Those dudes have so much stage presence. I honestly think they might have more stage presence than Matt and Kim. They were doing backflips off of the piano. They're jumping off of everything. He did some costume changes, which I was like, you know, that's kind of Madonna, Britney Spears. Like, that seems a little over the top. The teenagers loved it. I was like, I'm not about this. But during one song, they put a little cocktail kit, like a small drum, snare, crash cymbal drum set up on this essentially large piece of plastic, and all of it was bolted down. Gave it to the first row of crowd who held it up, and then the drummer climbed into it and played the ending of a song on a drum set on top of the audience. During the bridge of another song, Tyler Joseph, the singer, ran down the median strip in the middle of the audience, climbed onto the video platform, and hung off the side of it to deliver the bridge of Car Radio. They had a pneumatic air cannon that they were spraying confetti and just air at people with. And then they ended their set with these big, huge floor toms filled with water that were once again on like big wooden plastic platforms held on either side of the divide of the audience. They got up on them and were just pounding the hell out of them, water going everywhere all over the audience. And they're basically just standing on people's hands the whole time as they finish out the track. I mean, I understand that it's like pop music, and it's very teen pop at the moment, but the delivery was just so powerful that I couldn't help but fall for it. I don't know that I would stand in the front again, because that was really miserable, but I would go again.
Well, that's certainly an interesting response to have. Because, I mean, I guess I never thought about the context of who liked 21 Pilots, because I was like, I listened to Car Radio like a couple times and a few other songs. I was like, this is okay. You know, I wasn't like super invested into it, so.
That's I think too.
But apparently, legion of teenage fans. I have a coworker that actually really, really likes them. He was probably there, but
it seemed like half of Cincinnati was there.
Right, but I also have heard Car Radio and like the other two singles like literally every day for like at least a month. You know, I'm like I'm a little tired of this.
Their fans are fanatic, like face painted all day.
Well, I mean, when you
Today,
give that good of a performance, I mean, and you speak to a generation of people that, you know, there's probably a good reason why they have such rabid fans.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
What about Black Veil Brides, though? I think people usually show up face painted for their shows.
Yeah, that's true. This seems like more the socially acceptable Juggalo.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was too far. I'm sorry. That was too far.
Can't take it back. It's
Are
out
you
there
t-
now, but the
are
inmates,
you-
no.
I don't think there's like a multi act label with
I'm so tired, you guys.
associate bands and.
Seth says, I was around Columbus when 21 Pilots fandom started. It's intense, and I've heard the live experience is intense. That fandom, they just eat it up. They eat the whole thing up. They know everything about the two guys in this band, all about their families and what the songs are about, and like what specific ski mask goes with which song because they wear different ski masks. And I mean,
Well, that's a little silly, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to like understand who these people are because I mean, let's be honest, that's like the whole point is that they're trying to be like relatable to people.
right.
I mean, Car Radio is just like the perfect example of, you know, sort of like teen angst, probably, you know.
Yeah.
In like 2015, so.
If you haven't listened to the new record, the song they did the video for was Lane Boy, which is without a doubt my least favorite song on the album. It's like every time the Clash tried to do reggae, except worse. I just figured after the 70s we had learned that white people can't take reggae. Like, we just can't do it. There's something about it, that particular style of music. It is from Jamaica, and Jamaican people play reggae the best. I don't know why 21 Pilots needed to put so much reggae on this album.
Musical influence is a powerful thing.
I guess.
I mean, it's like
I never would have expected
what
14-year-olds to dance to reggae at a music festival, is what I'm saying, with their parents.
I, for one, am glad that there's one genre of music that white people can't steal.
Oh, they can. They just don't do it very well.
Well, that's what I mean.
And that's everything that happened up until the moment when I walked in the door, ate 2 chocolate chip cookies, and started this podcast. Tyler, Sean, do you have anything to say? I feel like I've been talking forever.
Well, to be fair, you were there for the longest, so you had the most experience. With Sean having the least
I didn't
experience.
even go.
Valuable input, Sean.
I'm just here as
MVP.
that guy.
Sean, how would you get on your soapbox for a second? Just what do you got on your
Give any of
mind?
these bands that you want to promote or hate on? Tyler
No.
got to hate on a band. I got to hate on a band.
Royal Blood, guys. I mean, really, I didn't go to. Okay, so I guess I should say, Sean, why didn't you go to this festival? And the answer was because the lineup for me wasn't that good. It was stacked on Mondays.
You
Promo
mean on Friday?
West. Oh yeah, Friday. Sorry. Promo West. I hate the way that you guys do your release stuff. That's really annoying as a fan.
You mean
I
like
know
in terms of the price going up after the lineup and all that stuff?
Right. And it makes me really upset because I know other festivals don't do this. It's not catchy. It's not fun. The reason you build up hype is not because it's a good way to do stuff. It's because people want to find out if they should actually go to your festival. When I read that you guys messed everything up on the first day, that sucks. I mean, I wanna hate on this festival really bad, and I'm trying to do it
I
in a way
wanted
that's
to
like
when I came
not-
home on Friday. I
Right.
really thought I was never going to go to this again.
and I want to be like legitimate about it, or not say like I called it because of the last thing I didn't, and like that's why I can't say like that's why I didn't go, but like that's why I didn't go because I thought for Friday it was economically feasible for me to go, because even to go see Temples on Saturday night with Fever the Ghost, who was a much better band than Temples, who was opening for them, it was still $25. So going and seeing Royal Blood, going and seeing the Black Keys, going and seeing Temple, going and seeing Tame Impala, who I really like, was worth the $80. But I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. I want to go for the whole festival. I don't want to go for one day.
And I'm glad you didn't, because that really was the most unpleasant day.
So,
Saturday and Sunday went pretty smoothly, but Friday was just a mess.
But the first year was good, though. I liked it when I went there. I don't want to harbor any resentment against the festival because it's... I mean, they managed to... I mean, even as you guys said, like, they managed to build a really good lineup. So...
I mean, I think it's just important that they're even trying to make a festival in Cincinnati, which is, I mean, let's be honest, not really a city that has a lot going on. I mean, I guess when you think... See, as someone who's only lived in Cincinnati and have no experience with any other city, I have no idea what it's like outside of there. It seems like Cincinnati doesn't have a lot going on, but it probably has a lot more going on than most cities. I mean, we have a baseball team, we have a football team. You know, we have apparently at least a few successful bands from here. So, I mean, that's probably more than a lot of cities can say.
Yeah, and we have decent arts and humanities type stuff. I think the thing that really wins this festival over... Yeah, we have a really good symphony. I think what really wins for this festival is the location. It's a beautiful location. And it's right in the heart of the city. A lot of people, when I told them I was going to this festival, they were like, "Oh, are you camping?" I was like, "No, it's literally in the heart of downtown. Like, if my parents did live in Cincinnati, I'd have to get a hotel." And I think that's really good for the city. It brings in a lot of urban tourism and people like going to restaurants and going to bars afterwards. And I really hope the festival keeps going, because it's not really like Bonnaroo where people just go out and trash a field in the middle of nowhere. It really is a part of the community that it's in. which I think is nice.
That being said, there's local breweries around here. There's more local businesses they could have contacted, like they could have worked with. They had like some like Asian noodles from like some other place and tacos from I don't even what is this? You know, I feel
Yeah,
like
the pizza was from Columbus, which was good, and they're moving into Cincinnati still.
But there are places right here that they could have had beer from, which they had some, and then they could have had more food from, which they had some. You know, Eli's Barbecue, best barbecue, Cincinnati, no questions asked.
I had that tonight. It was really good.
There you go. Did you have coleslaw?
Yes, I did.
There you go. Perfect.
I mean, okay, so back to my soapbox again.
Sorry, Sean. Go ahead. You can talk about whatever you want.
No, don't worry. So I've really been impressed with Louisville's festival for the past couple of years. Like they're pretty good at
Forecastle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just being realistic here, I don't know what their ticket prices are. I'll have to look it up real quick. But I just went on Airbnb just to see what it would be to get like a studio apartment or an entire apartment just for like a few nights, and it's like $50-something bucks. When I looked at Cincinnati the other day, it was outrageous. And I don't know if it was because of the festival, and I'm thinking that's why I didn't go to Bunbury, because I don't really get paid like super well, and I have student loans that are crazy. But like I couldn't justify spending $230 on a bunch of bands that I didn't know about. They were all stacked on one night. I'd have to stay. You know, we wouldn't able. You know, like luckily housing would have been okay because you guys live down there. But I just think like as somebody who doesn't live in the area, there's a lot of inconveniences to that festival.
Well, and it's weird because people traveled all the way from like Austin, Texas to be at this thing. Yeah, I was waiting in line for water today with people from Texas, people from Tennessee, people from all over the place.
By the way, Forecastle is $184 for the weekend.
There you go, $50 less.
Well, if you bought before the lineup, my Bunbury ticket was like $175 with fees. So
I think Forecastle publishes their lineup like immediately.
Yeah, it used to. Actually, apparently I guess there's levels of general admission, so I guess they get more expensive. So they're originally $144, and then $164, and then they're $184.
Which is a much smaller price ramp than Bunbury for sure. It jumped from like $160 to $200.
And they got the War on Drugs and My Morning Jacket, Modest Mouse.
They're a lot jammier, for sure.
Cold War Kids, Gaslight Anthem's going to be there.
Oh, maybe we need a road trip to Forecastle next year.
Over the Rhine, which I don't care about, but a lot of people care about.
Always is going to be there. I would go one day just to see Always.
I can't afford another music festival this summer, you guys.
No, I understand.
Maybe next year.
There's some pretty good stuff here, so.
Well, let's wrap up because we're already an hour and a half. This has been a supersized Dudes Brunch. Well, let's wrap up with final verdict. How was Bunbury 2015 if you went? And what are your festival plans 2016? Or are you over festivals? I'd like to go last if you don't mind.
Okay. Seeing Forecastle, seeing how much cheaper it is, I don't know. I would like to look into that. I don't want to play any guessing games with my lineup. I just want to go. I don't know. I could have much more money in a year from now, and if I do, that's a couple hundred for Bunbury. It's a drop in the hat, But if I'm still working in Chipotle, then one day might be enough for me. It'd have to really win me over with some good stuff. I would like to think that after this year, maybe they would get a little bit more. Like I feel like they've been building prestige of of the artist. Hopefully, the following year we'll have prime artists, maybe in the current rotation of popular music, that are actually going to festivals that people go to. I don't have a problem with festivals. I think it's a pretty good bargain usually. is, if an artist really puts on a performance, if they go the extra mile and really put on a good show, awesome. But I'm gonna hate a little bit when a band doesn't really do anything extra for a big performance like that. So that's what I have to say about Bunbury 2015.
Disclaimer: I didn't go this
Yeah.
year. I won't give up hope on Bunbury though. Like I just think this year, last year, and the year before, I just really wasn't like super enthused about the lineup. That's just a personal thing, totally subjective to me. So yeah, I guess I look forward to seeing what they do next year. I think that after they see the growing pains of this year, promo West will be next year will be much better. I have a feeling.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that. That'll be really cool. Forecastle, I think we should do it next year. We can book stuff in advance and just do it. Yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say. Like, I feel like I really don't have much to chime in here because it's not my place, but I don't want to give up on it. I still have hope. I'm not always a huge fan of what they do, but there's always next year.
I'm pretty much in the same camp as Sean. This being my first weekend-long festival experience, it was really nice being able to come home every night. I don't think I could ever do a camping festival.
Beds are good.
Yeah, so if I do another festival, it's got to be in a city. It's got to be like Forecastle or, I mean, I don't have the money to go to Lollapalooza, but it would have to be like something like that. I'd like to go to the Roots Picnic, actually, in Philly. But anyway, yeah, I mean, kind of like Sean said, I think Promo West is going to figure out a lot of the growing pains. They figured a lot of them out in 24 hours, which I was really impressed by.
That's what I mean. Dude.
Yeah, like, claps all around for that, because the multiple gates were better, the water was better, just, it was better.
That probably cost a lot of money, too.
Oh, I'm sure it did. The scheduling could have been better. A lot of the bands were exclusively booked, so there was nobody playing at the same time as them, which meant that the whole festival is just running back and forth between two stages all day. And that could just be this being a smaller festival, too. So, I mean, I bought the tickets this year because I was graduating from college. Next year, I'm going to wait until the lineup. And if the lineup's not that good, yeah, maybe I'll go to Forecastle. I don't know. I don't really hold that strong of an allegiance. I like it as a hometown person, but it's going to have to really win me over with lineup next year, for sure. Much more than it did this year. Well, after an hour and a half, and
We were talking about his experiences at Bunbury.
and 3 very long days, and not enough sleep, I think we're done here. Let's do some shameless plugs, gents. Sean, you can go first.
At Evans_emerge. Also be on the lookout for some new totem research
There you go.
plugs. Tyler and I are working together on design right now, so more to come about that later. Go Cavs! So gonna root for Cleveland. Gotta put that in there because it's pretty
At
exciting.
Cavaliers on
So-
Twitter. Is that their?
Oh no, it's at All In right now. I think at Cavs. Hashtag Cavs. Hashtag All In Cleveland.
Oh, that's okay. That's pretty good.
So
Hmm.
that's
At
it. Though.
Cavs.
Yeah.
That's a good Twitter name. Good job.
Tyler,
What up?
shameless plug from you.
All right, TylerDreed.com, at TDR Design. You know where to find me. Twitter, Tumblr, website, email, done.
And as for me, if you haven't yet, go check out my Instagram, at TC Olmstead on Instagram. Lots of photos from the weekend. I haven't put today's photos up on Instagram yet, but I'll do that once we finish the podcast.
Dude, go to bed. It can wait.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make him wait till tomorrow. And other than that, I guess share this show with your friends. You know what? That's my big plug for this week. Find one friend who you think would like this show and show it to them. I had some really good experiences with that this week with people sharing the show with their friends, and so let's get that going. Let's get the Dudes Brunch hype train going. I know you guys have some hype in you. Steph, Zach, I know you guys got some hype. Let's get that rolling. With that, thanks everybody for hanging in here for an hour and almost 40 minutes now. I hope you all had a wonderful Bunbury weekend, and we'll see you back with another normal episode next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Smooches.